America, 1945. The United States is engaged in war on two fronts, in Europe and in Japan. At home, unemployment was nearly non-existent, with many working hard for their paychecks and united behind the war effort. But for some, like the Lyles family in Avenal, California, it was the beginning of something else. Having been cheated out of a bonus by his employer, William Lyles took a risk, with a wife and 3 children in tow. Borrowing money from their parents, William and Elizabeth Lyles started W.M. Lyles Company in January 1945, working out of their small garage, and Elizabeth keeping the books at the dining room table. Together, and working with William's brothers, Larry and Mac, they started a pipeline construction business, building irrigation and gas pipelines throughout California's Central Valley. Over the course of 20 years, the company began to thrive, with divisions in Stockton, Fresno, Santa Maria, and Visalia. Then, the unthinkable. In 1965, William Lyles passed away following a tragic accident on his ranch. The Lyles family stepped into action. Elizabeth Lyles became president, and over the course of the next 7 years, William Lyles' son, Bill, prepared to take the mantle. In 1967, the company moved its headquarters to Fresno. Over the course of the next 5 decades, Bill diversified the company, transitioning into wastewater treatment, real estate, and other ventures, growing the company into something much stronger than his father probably envisioned. In 2020, Bill's son, Will, became president and CEO of Lyles Diversified, continuing the legacy of a family-owned business. In March 2025, Bill passed away at age 91, leaving behind a legacy of honesty and integrity rarely seen in the world.
So my favorite memory of my father is probably when I was young, sitting around in his chair, talking business, talking economics, talking tax, business cycles. He used to like to talk about China and pull historical events in, but he really had a vision of the business cycle and what to do during different eras.
He had business acumen. It seemed like everything he invested in, it just went well. He did things the right way. He was a Rotarian, the 4-way test. He had integrity. He set the tone.
Bill was a force. I mean, he was a man of men. I mean, he didn't mince words. The times that I met him, very, very personable, nice man, great for the community, great for the university here at Fresno. I mean, he's done a lot of really good things, you know, and he's built just a tremendous company.
The best way I could describe Bill, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Bill. The memory that probably sticks out the most, and this is actually, when I think of W.M. Lyles, what would be W.M. Lyles? And I know it wasn't that long ago, and there was a company lunch, and Bill grabbed me and said, hey Tony, you know, I've been following your career. I'm impressed by what you do, and thank you for what you do. And that to me is probably my fondest memory of Bill. And that kind of sums up my feelings of the company. And that's why I've been here. That's why I give 100%. It's that general atmosphere and vibe and kind of core culture.
He was a force. Yeah, smart guy, determined, didn't take no for an answer, you know, set his goals.
He was a true visionary. Diversification into real estate, diversification into Pelco, diversification into Buckner sprinklers and International Harvester that were complete failures. But he wasn't deterred by that.
It seemed like he just kind of always had the pulse on what we were doing, where we were heading, where we were going. It always felt like he was thinking at a little higher level than everybody else. And I think that's what really made him special.
Bill and I talk frequently, every couple of months or so. He came down and wanted to talk to me about something very important. We were in the beginning throes, but being successful in the Southern Division, and he just wanted to come down and talk to me about the work-life balance and to make sure that I was doing that as we build the success together. He was more concerned about the work-life balance than he was about how many dollars we might make.
To Bill, he wasn't about profit. Bill was about building a business where people could participate and the organization could grow and it could take care of the people that worked in it and the Lyles family at the same time, and to continue the integrity that this company was founded on in 1945.
I think the thing my grandfather got right, and it's very unusual, is it's a people-first business, and that employees and the family are partners. And one of the things I'm really proud about, and this started with my grandfather and grandmother, is the shared ownership of the company between our employees and our family. We are a family employee-owned business, and that is very unique. And that's something I'm really proud of and proud to be a part of.
You know, there's an interesting story I know where the founder, Bill's father, he was cheated out of a bonus where he was working. And he didn't think that was fair. And he didn't want to be a part of a company that would cheat their employees. So he and his wife each borrowed $5,000 from both pairs of parents. And they started W.M. Lyles Company. It really started on Mrs. Lyles' kitchen table. And she was every bit a founder as Bill's father was. She was a big part of this organization. The first time I met her, she and Bill were having a passionate discussion at the Lyles Diversified office about infrastructure, about the state of the economy, about the future of the economy. They were using words I didn't even understand at that age. And I was blown away by how brilliant Mrs. Lyles was. She was also a very strong, hardworking individual, like all the Lyles family are. They are very focused and they're very intent on keeping this business going and growing this business. And they've done a great job of it.
I mean, we're in our third generation now as far as ownership is concerned, and Bill's father started it, and Bill has really grown it into what it is today. And about 5 years ago, Will's taken over the chain, and Will's a very smart, ambitious man too. And I think that the core values that the company was founded on and the ethics that are involved, I think that this company will continue on just because of the commitment and the dedication from the employees.
There's a can-do attitude that has permeated WML. High ethics, pride in work, pride in what we do, satisfied customers when we can, ability to make tough decisions, getting things accomplished, getting things done. What we've accomplished as a team. And it's not any one individual. I get the privilege of sitting back and observing what's happening and watching it, and watching the values and the culture get passed from generation to generation. We have a generation of my peers that's retiring right now, but the values are being carried on by the next generation of employees.
You know, Will, for having as many employees as he does, he came out when we were in Metro. I think it was my first job as a foreman, actually. He just came down, stopped me, hey Chris, how you doing? How's Angela and the kids? And I was like, okay. Talked to him. When he left, I asked Troy Pitts, who was that guy? That's the owner. And I was like, oh man, came out like a normal guy and wanted to know about you and just thank you for doing a good job. And it really opened my eyes to where, with the guys, it's like, this is a tight-knit group where it's a big company, but it's still family-based. And that is huge for me.
We're very family-oriented. We're like a big family. Nobody is, I would say, out of reach to anyone. Ken comes down to the job site and speaks to everyone one-on-one, asks them how they're doing, how's the job going. Our project executive is on site, so he's always here to help us. There's basically nobody is out of reach or unreachable for us.
These guys, everybody around me is my brother, is my sister, is my fellow partner. It's really important to me that everybody underneath me understands that going home in one piece is truly the goal here. Ultimately, we want to build things, we want to get things accomplished, but when it comes down to it, lives matter, people matter.
Executives need to always remember that it's the field crews who build the work. We equip them, we enable them. A company without good people is a fire sale of assets. We have the best people that we could find. I think some of the best people in the business. But it's not just the guys in the office. It's not just the project managers. It's not just the estimators. It's the field crews. And they're as important as each of us.
John Lunsford took me up in a building one time in Davis, California. And he said, Chris, I want to show you something. All right. And he said, something that I need you to know is when you finish a project, you're not coming up and you're not taking it all in. And I was confused by that. So he said, just stand here with me and let's just take in this project. It was after hours, no one was there. And so I did that. And I started looking around like, this is awesome.
What we do as constructors, it's what we do. And as difficult as that is, and as challenging as that can be, at the end of the day, when you look back and see what you've built and what you're doing, that's when you find the real fun in all of it. And those are the things that you really miss. Being out in the field with the guys, with the crews, building things, constructing things, figuring out problems. That's the joy. That's the fun of it all. I think a lot of the young field engineers will look back in their careers and go, man, those were the fun days when you're out actually doing stuff, actually out building stuff.
I think that when you're on a project, I think that there's a lot of components that really resonate with you when it comes to teamwork, collaboration. You see progress at the end of the day. You go home at night and you think about what you did, and you could see the project, being built and coming to an end.
The best job I ever had was on a job site, building things or helping the crews build things on a daily basis.
My dad used to talk about that all along. Probably the actual joy in the building came about when he wrote his book, but he always talked about that the joy is in the process, in the day-to-day, and not in the destination. Joy is in the journey, not the destination, was the phrase that he often used. And that morphed into the title of his book being The Joy is in the Building.
Life is a journey, you don't want to enjoy it when you end it. You want to enjoy the journey of living it. And so I think that's the same rings true, and it's coming from the same place to say that the joy of building, the joy is in the building itself. The joy is in the act of construction. The joy is in the act, I think, in the experience of seeing, nothing turn into something. I think there's a lot of satisfaction in that.
Life is too short to not get pleasure out of what you're doing day to day. And goals are important, objectives are important, striving for them can be enjoyable. But the destination is not where it's at, it's in getting to it.
Did you ever see yourself getting where you are now back then?
I did.
Really? Only one other person said yes, and that was Grant.
I've always been drawn to leadership because of how it intersects with vision, responsibility, culture, impact. And so I've always been surrounded by leaders at WM Lyles Company, 4 presidents, CEOs, and I've been able to watch them as I grow through my career on the impact they can have and how they touch all responsibilities of a company, from business to culture to people to strategy. And to me, that's why I've always wanted to be in leadership. I really appreciate that. I want to have impact on a company. I want to have impact with people. And so to me, the leadership path has always been something I've desired because of what I've been watching, I've been learning, and I want to touch all parts of the business, not just operations. I want operations, I want strategy, I want business, I want people, I want culture. You know, I've really been fortunate. For 22 years, I've worked with 4 current president or past president CEOs, you know, Stan Simmons, Dave Dawson, Pat Saline, Ken Stroh-Snyder. They've really been able to teach me the business and the interaction, estimating, operations, and so I was really fortunate to have that. But on the other side, there's Kyle Garner and Mark Glazik, Oscar Verre, Rod Rodriguez, you know, men and women that I grew up with in the field, in the craft. They were superintendents. They taught me how to interact with men and women. They taught me how to build the job, work with our hands, what we actually do. And when I look back throughout my career, they've had the most impact. And you know, what they've been able to have me do, having that broad range of mentorship, is I can go talk to an apprentice about the concrete pour we're about to have, or sit down with Will Lyles and discuss the future of his company. So it's really shaped me to the person that I am and who I am today through the interaction I've had with all those mentors.
I stay with Lyles because you are part of a large company, but it doesn't feel like that. We're very close. Everyone is very close. And if you need them, just reach out.
There's a phrase on the wall in Fresno that says, if you have a problem, ask for help. If you don't ask, it's your problem. It's that simple. I mean, I've asked for help from my peers, Kevin, Troy, Larry, Mikey. Doesn't matter if they're younger or older. You got to be able to remember that we're all learning and nobody knows everything.
We can accomplish much more and be much more successful by working as a team. And I think when new people come on board, one of my biggest, I think, responsibilities in my position is to help everybody who comes on board, whether that's in the project managers or the field engineers or the project engineers. I think it's part of our responsibility to help them understand everything that they're going to be dealing with so that we can help them grow and understand, and they're going to be more successful. Because if they're successful, we're going to be successful in the field. If they can understand the field as well as we can, and we're willing to invest in them, then it's just going to make them that much more effective. And we build a stronger organization if we're all trying to help everybody understand every part of our work.
From a leadership position, as you go through a company, you try to strive and grow. That success comes the opportunities, the growth of individuals, the growth of the company, the growth of the culture. So having an impact and having opportunities for families to send their kids to college, that's the success I want. It's not about the dollars. It's not about the bottom line profit. Of course, that matters because it keeps us in business. But at the end of the day, success comes from the opportunities and the families we feed every single day.
You know, I believe we have a very bright future. I think it's a future built on the wonderful team that we have, built on the value, ethics, culture that has preceded them, with the modernization, the technology to really be leaders in the industry. We've become the leading treatment plant contractor in California. We can take on the difficult, challenging projects, do them well, satisfy our clients. I think a big part of that future is reimagining how we do that into a way where we are delivering our projects that are the lowest life cycle cost for a project, really meeting the owner's needs, and delivering projects under budget, ahead of schedule, safely, high quality, and doing it in a way that's fun and enjoyable and creates satisfying careers for all our employees.
I don't know. I've lived and breathed Lyles for close to 40 years now. And I feel like I've grown up in it. You know, how many guys do you know, guys in their 60s, can tell you they've been with the same company 40 years? A company that's focused on people and integrity. None. I don't know any. I'm fortunate to have been here. That's how it's impacted me. I'm proud of it. I'm awestruck by how it's grown. And what we do now blows my mind. You know, it's truly amazing what a group of people working together as a team can accomplish. I'm just amazed by the projects and the complexity in all of our operating companies.
I wish that everybody has the same opportunities that I get, you know. I mean, again, it's been a good ride since day one, never been lacking for work, always given challenges and opportunities to grow. And, you know, I wish that the company continues to grow and prosper, and I hope that everybody that works for them has the same opportunities that I have or had to be able to fulfill what their needs and their desires are, you know, moving forward in their careers. Some people will choose to want to be president and CEO, and some people will just choose to be a role player, and that's all fine. You know, they all can choose their own destination. And I think as far as leaders and executives of the company, our role is to find the position that they succeed at the best that help out the company.
I can't tell you how many times I ran into people that had a father or a grandfather or a great-grandfather that had worked for this company. This company just, it's so well known, I think. Even its colors of orange and black, they stand out on the road. I get messages from my family at times, hey, we saw one of your trucks in the area. Hey, we saw this. I have friends that call me and say, don't you work for that company? I'm like, yes, I do. And it just gives you a lot of pride knowing that you're part of that organization that's grown like it has over the years.
The company is the people that work here. Outside of that, we own a couple buildings and a couple, you know, pieces of equipment. But really, who WM Lyles is just the people that work here.
I mean, ultimately, we spend most of our time working here with the same group of people, more so than you do at home. And so you have to sort of feel like these people are your friends and your family, and a lot of them are. So it's not just a place to work, but a place where you have worth also. It helps you define who you are, but also who the company is. I think it's a good support group no matter what. I think it's more than just a job, and it has to be, because otherwise we'd be just punching a card and saying goodbye to every day. And I think all of us are personally invested in what we do and the group of people we work with or work for. And that support there kind of makes it more than just a company or just a couple letters that you squeeze together. It's not just WML, it's all of this.
This company is not just a family company, it's a family employee. My father considered the employees family. And I'm amazed 80 years in, and having known some of the first generation employees, even worked with some of the first generation at the latter stages of their career, how the values and ethics and culture have just been passed on from generation to generation of employees.
Work is a part of life. Providing for your family is a part of life, but it's enhanced. It's, you know, the total is greater than the sum of the parts when you get to do all that and enjoy it, and enjoy the people, what you're doing, and enjoy the people you're doing it with. I mean, to me, it's not a lot more you can really ask for.